So, to the beginners who have a fairly fresh understanding of MBTI, I would like you to throw away the knowledge that you have about it. Chances are you've been given a heap of misinformation, and that misinformation probably came from this nice little site called 16 Personalities. This site kinda sucks for a nice amount of good reasons. It's disguised as an MBTI test, but it's really a Big Five test. It gives credit to the foundations of the MBTI, Carl Jung, Isabel Myers, and so on, but it does not allow you to mention the content of their works. The questions within the test are quite vague. The type descriptions butter you up quite nicely, making you prone to see your type as your whole identity and pretty much ignore the weaknesses. You're very prone to mistype yourself on this test. Whatever result you got, it's likely not your actual type. This is the case with most MBTI tests anyway. And allegedly, they don't like constructive criticism either. Now, I am aware that some people just invariably rely on tests. So if I were to recommend any assessments or any brief and accurate type descriptions based on the actual theoretical foundations of MBTI, I'd recommend IDRLabs and Type in Mind. Type in Mind's assessment isn't working at the moment, so I definitely recommend taking a look at their type descriptions. Links to those sites will be in the description. So, on to the actual meaning of this video. I am in the process of producing a series of concise and accurate descriptions for each MBTI type. Each description will be illustrated by use of the cognitive functions. In MBTI, the cognitive functions are basic psychological perspectives, ways of judging and perceiving the world that underlie an MBTI type, or a type's four-letter code. In essence, each cognitive function is composed of an attitude, extroversion or introversion, and a function, thinking, feeling, sensation, and intuition. Extroversion is oriented toward observed objects, independent from the mind. Introversion is oriented toward ideal thoughts and inner ideas. Thinking evaluates things based on logic and functionality. Feeling evaluates things based on sentiments and values. Sensation perceives concrete details and facts, and intuition perceives general notions and hidden connections derived from hunches and speculation. The combination of these functions and attitudes results in the 8 cognitive functions. They are classically called the psychological types, which refers to Carl Jung's book, Psychological Types. But these 8 cognitive functions were pretty much coined by analytical psychologists such as Carl Jung, Maria Moltzer, Hans Schmidt-Gusain, and Tony Wolff. These cognitive functions are as follows: extroverted thinking, or TE, introverted thinking, or TI, extroverted feeling, or FE, introverted feeling, or FI, extroverted sensation, or SE, introverted sensation, or SI, extroverted intuition, or NE, and introverted intuition, or NI. Extroverted thinking evaluates things based on their objective functionality in the world. This refers to factual measurements and data, standards of effectiveness and efficiency, and the organization of observed facts into a system or an empirical law. Introverted thinking evaluates things based on their functionality derived from inner ideas. This refers to the formation of theories for their own sake, deciphering a thing's underlying mechanics based on deductive reasoning, and analyzing an idea to get a full comprehension of it. Extroverted feeling evaluates things based on objective values. This refers to seeing the basic commonalities between people, establishing harmony upon its environment based on these commonalities, and accommodating to the sentiments of the situation. Introverted feeling evaluates things based on inner values. This refers to forming personal ideals rooted from an inner sense of right and wrong, or like and dislike, seeing what makes each individual their own self, and pursuing a personal inner harmony. Extroverted sensation perceives things based on objective facts and details. This refers to capturing a totality of facts in a situation as they simply are, much like a high-definition photograph. This also refers to seizing opportunities as they arise in the moment and achieving a state of flow in order to fluidly adapt to situations at hand. Introverted sensation perceives things based on facts and details derived from inner ideas. Now, this one's a pretty complicated function, but it basically refers to taking a set of facts and mentally retaining their relevant qualities in a thorough manner and cataloging these facts, that is, classifying them, and verifying this set of facts to make them officially concrete or definite within the mind. So it basically means verifying relevant information and then retaining that information for future reference. Extroverted intuition perceives things based on speculative insights and notions from objects. This refers to speculating on and exploring the possibilities of a situation, spotting associative patterns of a situation, and cross-referencing various sources of insight and inquiry. Introverted intuition perceives things based on speculative insights and notions derived from inner ideas. This refers to speculating on the core or essence of a particular situation, getting a hunch or vision of a hidden theme or the underlying motivations behind an event, and envisioning where things are ultimately heading. So those were the cognitive functions. And basically, it's the cognitive functions that you must use to type people and yourself, not MBTI tests. For a more exhaustive account of the cognitive functions, I've created a pretty thorough explanation of them in a document that I will link in the description. So now on the nature of each type. Each MBTI type prefers 4 cognitive functions, each of them interacting with one another, and each of them with a specific role in a type's psychology. These roles are termed dominant, secondary, tertiary, and repressed, or inferior. The first and most conscious function in a type's psychology is the dominant function. It's the most comfortable to deal with, and it characterizes the subject's philosophy of life. The second function is the secondary function. It supports and aids the dominant function, providing justifications for the subject's philosophy. The first 2 functions are the conscious functions, while the next bottom 2 functions are relatively unconscious, which brings me to the third function, which is the tertiary function. It is semi-conscious, and it supports the dominant function as well, and is either in harmony or in conflict with the secondary function. Since it's neither preferred nor repressed, it represents something to fall back on, and it operates in quite an adequate manner. The fourth, last, and most unconscious function is the repressed or inferior function. It is the least comfortable to deal with, since it goes against the subject's philosophy of life, but still represents an unconscious motivation to experience in some way. If you want to know the cognitive function stack of each type, again, I highly recommend taking a look at the type in mind descriptions. But for more information just on the basics of MBTI and the MBTI types, I will provide a link of a playlist and the description of a guy named Michael Pierce, who gives a pretty good account of an introduction to MBTI. Also, I have a Patreon now. Kind of awkward. I don't know how to explain it because I think the page speaks for itself. I don't really know how to explain it at the moment, but I do have some supporters that I would like to thank. They are Claire Hu, Ed Martinez, Victoria Carey, and 99. Thank you all for supporting me, and have a nice day.